Danny and Alex, it's a pleasure to see both of you guys. I've been a huge fan of both of y'all for a minute now, so it's an honor to get to talk to you both.
Great.
Just a minute.
Just a minute, though. Oh, that's
not even an hour. Okay.
Yeah, not even about 40 seconds. Yeah. So 28 Days Later, obviously, defined the genre. It created the mold for what we saw for the next 2 decades of zombie movies. I feel like 28 years later shattered that mold and actually created a new mold, because I have never felt, I forgot it was a zombie movie in some parts because it becomes so heartfelt, you know? So I'm going to start with you, Danny. What took so long?
Well, no, I think it's interesting. There is a kernel of it in the first movie. When Brendan Gleeson gets that drop of blood in the eye, which everybody talks about the blood, but really it's the moment after that where he tries to save his daughter. It's very short and very compressed, but it's an emotional connection that you feel to the characters that's very vivid. Brilliantly performed by him. And I always thought when Alex delivered the script and there was 20 minutes of this consideration of mortality, shall we call it, completed by its necessary happening, the actual occurrence of mortality. I remember thinking that's very like that Brendan moment, and I think that's a great storyteller. You're not going to you can tell stories, just stories, but unless you feel that emotional connection with your characters, it's going to be a limited journey. If you feel that connection that we sometimes feel with actors, it's limitless where you can go. They can sort of take you anywhere, really. Yeah.
Alex, how did the conversation start with you and Danny? Because, I mean, the work that you've done on Civil War and Warfare and literally everything, seriously, I love your films, dude.
Thanks,
they're phenomenal. But how did y'all even begin creating this world? Because there are 2 films that are coming out of this, or 3.
Well, we talked about it. It would sort of come up over the years, and I can't remember when it was, but I'm going to say about 8 years ago. Maybe there was an idea knocking around, and I was working on a movie at the time, and another writer took a swing at it, and a script was developed, and for various reasons we thought the script didn't quite work, and then in effect I did a rewrite of that script post-COVID, and that still didn't work. But I think because I'd worked on it and Danny had sort of got dug into the script and really thought about it, we identified, or specifically Danny identified, what the problem was that without meaning to be lazy, we'd been lazy and it was a bit too generic. And what that did is it said, we can't be complacent. We've got to kind of rid ourselves of all sorts of preconceptions and really just start again. And start again actually with just a very simple premise, which is if they're still infected 28 years after the outbreak of infection, how are they infected? What would they be like? What would communities around them be like? And sort of build it up from a clearer slate and a slate that was less concerned or aware of genre, and in a way less aware of the previous film, and just take the world that was implicit by the first film and work from there. And
I mean, because we had the pandemic too, which you got to kind of take off of, because we never had that before.
We had the pandemic, which was really illustrative, and one of the things that showed you was how quickly things can change, but also, as Danny talks about very well, how people live in that new state, how they get used to that new state, how they start taking risks quite quickly that they wouldn't have taken in the initial stages, but they start adapting their tolerance to risk or where they feel their boundaries lie and stuff like that. So we basically, the answer is we went through a generic stage and then we went back to sort of year 0 state and built it up from there.
I'm looking forward to the Bone Temple coming out. And 30 weeks after, I did the math, it's not 28 weeks, it's 30 weeks after the release of this.
They've got to put that right. They've got to put that right.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for pointing that out. We'll solve that.
Danny, where are you guys at on the third film? Are y'all getting ready to film it, or just wondering where y'all are at right now?
No, we've got to raise the money from.
Okay.
It's outlined. Obviously the overall arc is outlined, but we've got to raise the money first, and that will depend on how the first film performs. To be blunt.
You'll have it by what? June 22nd. You'll have the money. So 2 days after it releases. So.
That's a
Cool,
vote of
guys.
thanks.
It's great to
Thank
see you, and I'll see y'all in January for the Bone Temple.
Thank you.
Only on the Backstage Experience.